Hey guys, I'd like to make this video talking about my experience with Vangasai. Since the one I went to this year was actually my first one, and I know that a lot of people have not been able to go. So I figured that maybe talking about it here and sharing some of the pictures and stuff that I have can maybe help those people who couldn't come just get an idea of what it was like. Uh, and I know it's been quite a few months since the actual event took place, and the reason that I'm making this video now and not, afterwards is you see, I have a good excuse, and that excuse is so. Moving on. So let's first start with, I guess, where the event actually took place, and the inside of the event as well, and then I will talk about the tournament and all that. I'm not sure if I have much to say about it, or like how much details I can give, just because it's been a while, and honestly, it was a great event, and I had a lot of fun. But I'm not sure how to like fully describe the entire thing, and I'm sure it'll take like a really long time. So, anyways, I'll actually get started with the explanation. So, the event took place in Tokyo Big Sight, which is a really big event space and a very famous one as well in Tokyo, and I'm sure that's everyone knows that. So I don't live in Tokyo, and I had to go there. So I was there for a few days. It was quite fun. Um, so when I arrived in Tokyo Big Sight, obviously there were many different event halls and all that. So it took a little bit of time to find the one for Daivangasai. So when I went in there, of course, everyone knows that. Well, actually, not many people might know this, so I'll mention it. But I say Daivangasai because that's the event that the tournament that I participated in. But actually, the whole event thing is the Bushiroad Game Fest, if I'm correct. Yeah, so the entire event is actually Bushiroad Game Fest, and there's three like mini events inside. Which one of them was Daibangasai and the other was Shirokuro Fest for Y Schwartz. And I don't remember the last one, but I think it was like Shadowverse related or something like that. Or it was reverse for you. I'm not sure, but anyways, we're here to talk about Vanguard, so we'll focus on that for now. Um, so the inside of the hall was actually decorated quite nicely. There was also a lot of space, to be honest. That it was kind of crowded, but not super crowded. I maybe you'll be able to tell with some of the pictures that I'm gonna show you here. Um, but yeah, it was actually quite spacious, and there were many posters about the new anime, of course, which we now know as Will Dress. It was also announced back then, and there were just posters of, well, the Overdress anime and the Will Dress anime poster as well, and then the Cross Epic posters were also there. And another cool thing was that they had a bunch of stands around, which had special audio playing, and that audio was actually a conversation between Roroa and um Radarina. I hope I pronounced it that, but yeah, pronounce it right. I mean, uh, so the so in the story of Cross Epic, which I think relates to Planet Grey, Roroa has awakened from his 3,000 year slumber, and now he's kind of confused about the entire what's going on Planet Grey. So he basically goes around Planet Grey alongside Radarina, who's there to explain things to him. And so that's the like general story of these like special audio that was playing in these stands. So they had six different stands for the six different nations, and you can actually watch them here on YouTube. They are in Japanese, of course, and I don't think they have any English subtitles. But I'll mention a little bit here and there about the what I remember about like the audio. So the Dragon Empire one, for example, that is also out on YouTube. I believe Dark States and Stoichia, currently at the time of me recording this, they're all out on YouTube for you to watch. And the rest of the nations don't have their audio uploaded yet. You can find it on the official Vanguard channel, by the way. As I was saying, the Dragon Empire one, for example, had its story where they, of course, visited Dragon Empire, and Roroa was amazed at all the dragons running around, um, you know, and just how kind of fearsome they look. Uh, and Radarina was kind of explaining that, uh, well, of course, all these dragons are running around because it's Dragon Empire, and it's sort of like a military place. It's one of the nations that have, she explains to him that it's the only nation that has not changed its name uh, at all, um, unlike the other nations, and also is it has good relations currently with dark states, or something going on with that. But more importantly, what she mentioned was that a lot of people, um, a lot of people here are actually counting on this dragon egg, this sort of divine dragon egg. That there's a story going around saying that once it hatches, it will provide prosperity to the entirety of planet Gray and put an end to like whatever despair arc is happening right now. She explains that because of this, a lot of people, not just in Dragon Empire, but throughout the entirety of Planet Grey, have actually not lost hope. So they were really depressed when Messiah went to sleep, and there was this era with no God. So they were depressed, but they did not lose hope thanks to this. So this was obviously before the actual storyline that's taking place on that, like they are updating the lore on the official website, and currently, so where that story is clearly Roroa and Radarina's story, at least for the Dragon Empire one, um like that was playing, must have taken place before the current Planet Grey story that's being updated on the official website, because I'm pretty sure that during that time the dragon egg had already hatched or was starting to hatch, I believe. I don't think Nirvana currently has hatched, but yeah, that's just a cool detail to add into the story if you're ever interested in Planet Grey's story. There's a lot to it. Moving on, that was basically it for Dragon Empire. Moving on to the Dark States one, I believe the story was them looking around Dark States, and Roro was kind of surprised by like the Spike Brothers players were as you might know, in Dark States, particularly in Spike Brothers, there's this thing called the Gallows, and it's a sports sort of arena where they play like a rugby like sport, but not really rugby. And so they were kind of just mentioning that, and I don't remember, I didn't get to hear the entire thing, um but I believe that's sort of what they were talking about. And some mention of Gear Chronicle, I think. Gear Chronicle is sort of lost currently right now in the story. So yeah, so there's not really many Gear Chronicle like units mentioned um yet. Who knows, maybe they'll add more later on. And then moving on, I believe the other one I managed to grasp was Brandgate. So Brandgate's story, actually I apologize, I did not get a lot of details, but what I mentioned to like sorry, what I managed to listen to was was that they were talking about it being sort of a place where there's a lot of tech and there's a lot of like information going around, and sort of just Brandgate being the hub for beings from other dimensions coming into Planetary and all that, and they handle stuff like that. And there was also something mentioning Nova grapplers, but I don't know really much about that. All I managed to hear was Roroa in some like high pitched voice say, Nova grapplers? Something like that. Like, do you mean Nova grapplers? So I'm assuming they must have been talking about Radarina must have mentioned some brand gate units, and Roroa probably just remembered like or knows them as Nova grappler units, and that might have been a really cool detail in the story again. So sorry I missed that. um Moving on, the other one I managed to listen to was Lyrical Monastery, and this one was actually quite funny because in this one they were talking about Bermuda Triangle and the idol mermaids and stuff. And we find out that so Radardina was explaining all about um the current state of Lyrical Monasterio, as in they're accepting students from all kinds of different nations, and they're all there to practice their singing and all that because they love music. And Roroa mentions Bermuda Triangle, and he kind of offhandedly mentions that he might have actually gone to one of the concerts that one of the Bermuda Triangle units, I don't remember which one, sorry, but one of the Bermuda Triangle units had. I think it was actually Star Coral, maybe. And apparently Rarina is a fan of that unit. Like, she wanted to know a lot of details from Roroa, if he did actually go to see it. So yeah, the plot line was also that they mentioned that Bermuda Triangle and currently the current Lyrical Monasterio as well sometimes performs live concerts and they invite people from other nations as well to come and take a look. Again, and this also links to the current like this era of people being depressed. So the students at Lyrical Monasterio are actually really trying to cheer people up in this way. So on to the next topic. Let's see. Okay, I'll talk about the tournament itself. Actually, I think I'll mention that real quick. Because there was a lot to see, and to be honest, for the tournament, I there's not much to really say. So the tournament format was double elimination. The one I part There was of course a tournament for all three formats, including premium, which was really good. The one I had, but I mean not for Vangasai, I believe. For Vangasai itself was only, I mean like like the main tournament, as in not the other mini tournaments, which I'll get to those in a bit. But the main tournament, which they said was the main event, that one was and standard, so not premium. The one I participated in was both. Actually, I participated because in both of them because they were on different days. If I'm remembering this correctly, so it was, let's see, quite tough actually. Again, because I didn't last very long, I lost in my first two rounds. It was double elimination. So the moment you lose twice, you are out. Or I believe the moment you lose twice in a row, you're out. So in case you're wondering about my deck, I took Gold Paladin Gurgit, and if you want to see my list, um, I can share the deck log with you. Just ask for it if you want to see it. Anyways, I took Gurgit. So, of course, it's a pretty strong deck. A really strong deck, actually. Gurgit's a really good deck. So, I was hoping to do well, but I lost to Bermuda Triangle. So, yeah, I think you can sort of guess what happened there, you know. And also, not to mention that I got quite unlucky after a little bit. So yeah, that was that. I mean, I got a little bit unlucky during the fight, but I think the luck factor wasn't too much reliant on luck. It's just that it was a bit of unluckiness. I did the best that I could, but ultimately, my opponent's deck was just better. At least that's what I think it is. But maybe I did the best that I could, but I think, of course, there's probably better plays that I could have made, or I probably could have adjusted my deck better. But anyways, that's it for the standard tournament. For the V tournament, for the standard version, I took Bastion, which also again was a really strong deck at this time. Bastion Prime, that is, and I lost to the mirror match. So there's that. And again, I think that was actually single elimination instead of double. So the one time that I lost, either that or it was double elimination and I lost again after the mirror match, but I can't remember what I lost to. But either way, I lost as well. Um, and I'll admit I did kind of worse because I didn't really practice much. I was focusing more on V at the time, so yeah. And my Bastion deck I think was pretty good, but it was not the like super optimal, I think. But anyways, so we're gonna move on with that. I'm sure you guys want to hear about the tournaments and stuff, but they have already announced that publicly on the websites and all that. And I'm sorry, I didn't look that up to be honest, because I wanted to enjoy the rest of the event. Because there were also a few other mini events. So there was the other tournaments. I believe uh there was an event for Team Blackout where you could participate as either at the start you have to decide whether you want to be in Team Blackout or Team Daybreak. So it doesn't matter what deck you were playing. You could play any deck. It doesn't matter if you choose to be in Team Blackout, but you're playing like Buff Sagra, for example. That was totally fine. Or any of the cross epic decks as well. That's also okay. So you how it works is you would play and then you would write down on this piece of paper that they gave you whether you won or lost your results, and then you show it to them. And then if you fight 3 times in a row, you get a PR pack. And I think if you continue to fight, like I think at least 9 times, you also get another PR pack. But other than that, you didn't really get anything else. You did, I mean, of course, that just it found you opponents, but other than that, it was just a normal, like kind of a normal locals kind of thing. I'll mention that actually I took Roroa to this, and I did, I think, pretty okay. Not that great. Um, I guess. I mean, Roroa wasn't the best, but I like the deck, so I had fun. But I did beat Loro Nero with Roro actually, because I got really lucky being able to persona ride. Like, I got all of my persona rides off, so yeah, that was great. That helped, but it was such an uphill battle even with that, because Roro Nero was just pushing hard, and in the end, managed to grab a win. So that was one thing I was happy about. um and I think that's the other than that, there's a friend fight, and then that's it. Something I want to mention real quick also is that there was actually a buddy fight event. There was a buddy fight tournament. I didn't bring a buddy fight deck. I actually have one now, but it's just a starter deck. I didn't bring that, and I didn't plan to participate in the buddy fight event. But I just thought it was cool that they had one, and there were a lot, and I mean a lot of people there. It was actually insane the amount of people. I think more people went to that buddy fight event than there were people lining up during the store that Bushiroad had opened up with all the like cool stuff you could buy. So yeah, speaking of that store, I think I'll talk about that store now as well. Let's see. The store had a lot of stuff in it, as you would have imagined. There were play mats and T-shirts and clothes and stuff as well. There were, the kind of merch that normal other anime have: acrylic stands, keychains, stuff like that. If I have any pictures, I don't think I took many or any pictures, if any, of the store, because it was kind of awkward to do that. I didn't want to get in trouble, so I kind of just didn't take any pictures or videos in the store. But it's basic stuff. If I have a picture though, I'll show you what I did buy. I picked up a UU keychain, which I thought looked really nice. Wasn't that expensive as well. I spent a lot of money on sleeves. Actually, I bought a bunch of sleeves that I really liked. Some of them were not Vanguard sleeves. Also, I think I bought like two Weiss sleeves. That I didn't intend to use for Weiss. It's just that I really like the art on the sleeves, and I thought, why not? Because I could not find those sleeves outside of this. And another thing that I was surprised about is that they had the Planet Crane novels there. They didn't have all of it, but they had like two novels. One was Luard's story, and the other, I believe, was the beginning story. So there were, in the beginning story, there were a bunch. There's a bunch of like short stories during the Link Joker invasion in Planet Cray, and it's really interesting. And I encourage you to look it up if you want to know. I'm sure if you just Google, like, look up the Cray, uh, Cray Chronicles, you'll find it. Cray Chronicles beginning or something, you'll find it. And then the Luard story, of course, covers Luard, Luard's story in G and what he was doing, and then there's part one and two. So this novel had both parts in it. It was that bundle, and of course, in part two, I believe, was when he got jacked by Gize. So yeah, so that's it for the store. Moving on, I'll get to the rest of the decorations that they have had. So of course, this was not just Vanguard. There were also a bunch of other card games, as well as, of course, Shadowverse, because Shadowverse had just recently, a few days before Dai Vangasai uh started selling. It came out. And so there was, of course, a Shadowverse Evolve booth, and was really nice. And you could play Shadowverse basically, and they were teaching you how to play Shadowverse there as well. Um, and I think that's about it for the booth. You could, of course, buy the trial decks and the boxes and booster packs. And also, I should mention that aside from the Bushi Road store, there were also other card game shops that were opening stands where you could buy packs and single cards there. Uh, and the special collection for standard that came out at the time, and uh P collection, premium collection as well, that was sold first over there at Vangasai, was also there. Um, but I didn't really pick up anything from there because I just didn't think to. But the cool thing was that you could buy those sets, and then you can use cards from both of those sets if you wanted to. So in any of the tournaments, so that was actually pretty cool. Um, yeah, you were only limited to, I believe, three boxes for one person, and you could not buy a pack. You had to buy a box. So yeah, that's kind of also why I kind of hesitated. It was If it was just packs, I kind of would have bought, like, I think one or two of each. But because I also kind of wanted to save money, and the sets were coming out a little bit later anyway, so because it was a box, I kind of decided, I'll just keep the money. 'Cause I'm in Tokyo, so I should probably keep some money aside. And so I did that, and just like decided to get the other cards later on when they fully released. Let's see what else was there. There was also another small event where you could learn to play Vanguard, and in that same spot was also one for Weiss Schwartz, where you could learn how to play Weiss. There was this really cool area where they had a bunch of high rarity cards from each of the games there, from Shadowverse Evolve, from Vanguard, and from Weiss. I'll put it up on the screen. It looked pretty cool. There was also a small section where it had a bunch of art for Vanguard, and I'm not. And next to it was a really small block for Will Dress, where they had character information and stuff. And they were holding this cool sort of campaign where you could, if you answer a Google form, and you sort of guess who's gonna win the deluxe tournament that everyone's gonna participate in World Rush. And yeah, if you answered the question, then you'd get this tiny postcard. That's the poster of the anime. So that was also pretty neat. Yeah, and there was also a small booth like in the previous like when I was video about WGP. They had a the Dragon Maid game booth. They had that there as well in Vangasai. It's just a demo of the Dragon Maid game for Switch. Um, so yeah, the game is not only on Switch, but the demo that you could play there was only the Switch version, and I think I understand why, since that's a lot more portable than the PS4, than a PS4. Yeah. Uh, and sorry, I'm trying. There was a photo booth where you could take a picture with. You see the Bushiroad also, like, so they kind of teamed up with Token Rambu for the collab cards, right? So they also had the mascot character from Token Rambu appear, and you could take a picture with him, and you could take a picture with Trickstar as well. I'll put up a picture. Moving on from that, there was a special stage as well. And this is where sort of they had guests come on and sort of talk. And I didn't get to see a lot of it because when they did have guests around, there were so many people gathered around there to look. You could not stand, you could not sit. I mean, also because there were no chairs for it, you could only stand to look. So, of course, I didn't really want to do that. But it was, I think, some of the people who were in D4DJ that worked on like the music in Vanguard. I kind of forgot what the Lyrical Lily. There you go. That's the band. I think some of the people from the actresses and singers from Lyrical Lily were up on there, and I think Megumi's voice actor as well, who is also the voice actor for Mashiro in Bang Dream, is was there. And they were sort of, since set 5 had also recently released at that time. I mean, it was the latest set that released in standard, so they were sort of talking about that as well. They had this fun quiz where they were trying to guess what the set's name, for what set five's name was for English. So they knew the Japanese name, but they had to guess what it was in English without looking it up. And I think some of them got it half right, like almost correct. So that's pretty cool. I mean, just it was kind of fun. I'm sorry if it's not super detailed and if this video is really long, but I'm not sure how much editing I'm going to do in this video. But I hope that you guys can sort of get some kind of visual with this, and you don't mind that it's a really long video about Vangasai. Uh it, it it was a pretty big event and takes some time to talk about all of things there. So way with my apology, getting back to the main topic. um I think that's kind of, oh, the food trucks. I almost forget to mention about the food trucks. There was, of course, food trucks that were there as well, for Vanguard, and they had a bunch of food and stuff. And I think they revealed it also on stream. Don't remember all of it, but there was, I think, Kai's like beef stew. I'm sorry, I don't remember, but it was some kind of beef curry. There you go. It was Kai's curry or something like that. Then you had a psycholia drink, and you also had like a cro- croquet like burger, like croquet bread. Um, then you had Mire's energy drink as well. So they were all tied to a character, right? So the Kai's curry was extremely popular. I didn't really want to eat it because I didn't feel like it. So I didn't have it, but like it was sold out really fast, I think, on both days. So that was, yeah. I guess it must have been really good. Then the food, the like stuff that I had actually was the croquet burger, like croquet bread. That was pretty nice. Don't remember. I think it was Kumi. I'm sorry. How could I forget best girl's name? Kumi. Kumi was the one associated with the bread, and whenever you bought the food that's associated with the character, you also get a small postcard with that character's art on it. So that was nice. I had the Psycholia drink as well, and it was really cool because you could change colors. They gave you this. It's initially blue, and then if you put in lemon, this like that you pour into the drink, and then you mix it, it'll turn purple. So it just kind of looks cool. Um, and the drink itself was also pretty good, but I prefer it without the lemon. To be honest, I think it was grape initially before you add the lemon or something like that. They didn't act. I think they didn't mention the like base taste of the drink, but oh well. So there was that, and there was the. I also tried the potato chips. Sorry, they call it potato chips, but it's actually just fries, which was associated with Toya, and the box they give you in is really neat because it's this box for set 4. If you remember in the anime, in season 2, there was this like funny scene where Toya bought like an entire, oh well, I say box, but it's more like carton. Sorry, yeah, that's the right word, carton. So he bought an entire carton. Uh, and they even turned it into a joke in Will Dress. In his character description, it says um, he usually buys cartons when he picks up new sets, something like that. So they give you that, and I'll put up pictures for you to see of the box, yeah, and the chips inside. So that's pretty neat. I got a mini carton of set 4 that had the chips inside. And the chips were really good. So yeah, I know really good is not like a super descriptive term, but what else do you want me to say? Moving on, I think that's actually about it for the entire Vangasai event, and this video is getting really long already as well. I not sure if I'll cut anything out from like when I first record, so this will definitely be a little long video. But if you made it this far, thanks a lot for watching, and if there's anything else you want to know about the event, please feel free to ask, and all that. And maybe if you've got some criticism, maybe you can tell me that actually you could cut this and that out, so that next time when I make this type of video, I'll be able to I'll be able to figure out which parts I don't need, and I can cut it out and shorten down the video. It's just that I've been sitting on this for a really long time, and I just want to get this video out there. Honestly, a live stream probably would have been a better idea, but yeah, to anyone watching this, really, if you stuck through the end, I'm sorry if it was boring for you, but thank you so much for just listening to all of this. And I hope you got an idea for what Daivangasai is, and look forward to continue playing Vanguard, and look forward to the next Daivangasai event. So thanks a lot for watching again, and see you guys.